seems to be the most perplexing is found in Matthew chapter 27 in verse 46 and Mark 15 in verse 34. Matthew and Mark are the only two that mention this. But that statement was, my God, why have you forsaken me? That's been debated a lot, talked about a lot, written about a lot. And I'm not sure that I have all the answers. I'm sure that I don't, as a matter of fact. But it seems to me that, first of all, we need to know that it was spoken as a fulfillment of prophecy. In Psalm 22, the Psalms David said at that time, about 1,000 years before it actually came to fruition, actually mentions this and uses these exact words that Jesus spoke on the cross. And matter of fact, when you look at Matthew Psalm 22, in a number of places, it describes the events of the crucifixion in a very graphic way, not just that first verse of that psalm, although that's the one that is usually quoted more frequently than any of the others. But I think more specifically that here he's talking about having a real experience of bearing the sins of the world. Of course, Jesus was sinless himself. But I think whenever he asks that question, my God, why have you forsaken me? That he is feeling the full force and effect of what sin does to us, to mankind, those who are guilty of sin. The Apostle Paul said in 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter in verse 21, for he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. The prophet Isaiah spoke of these events in his letter in Isaiah chapter 53, and at the beginning of verse 4, it says, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. So when we think about these words that Jesus uttered on the cross, it certainly, I think, would indicate that he is feeling the full weight of sin at this particular time. You know, when we speak of God, he is a holy God. And the Bible very clearly says that that is the case. The prophet Habakkuk in chapter 1 and verse 13 says, you are of purer eyes than to behold evil, and cannot look on wickedness. Isaiah again says in Isaiah 59 verse 2, but your iniquities have separated you from your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, so that you will not hear. Now, these verses very clearly show what sin does to us, that it separates us from God. It puts up a barrier between us and God. And I believe that Jesus, although he was not guilty of sin, felt what sin does to mankind, those of us who are guilty of sin. And so Jesus felt fully the horror of the cross and the awfulness of sin. He knew that Sunday morning was coming, and this story would have a victorious end with a victorious resurrection. So whenever we think about the death of Christ, what he did for us. Jesus has offered himself for us and felt forsaken by God, that you and I might not be we might not be forsaken by him, those of us who are faithful to him. So let's keep these in mind as we partake of the Lord's Supper.